morning.
Good morning, Dick. I got hat on. I read over your previous emails you sent me, which really got my attention. So, are you ready?
Okay.
We're on a recorded line, just so you know. And the whole purpose of this is we're just going to have this conversation. And because this is one of our spotlights for a maverick, somebody who's a loyal supporter, we're going to use this almost like a podcast. You know, we're going to make the audio available, make it like a little thing that people can go listen to the whole thing if they want to. Or I can extract some, useful tidbits out of there that I think would be of fun, of interest for people to read. But definitely, I think your story, just what you sent me back on March 1st, I mean, what an inspiration, right? So let's go to the main event. You know, the event was May 4th. You ran a race. Just tell us about that race.
All right. I can't remember what I sent you back in before, but
well, I will cover that once you tell me the story. Just tell me your experience of this weekend, and I'll read to you what you wrote to me, and then we'll cover that. Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. This weekend was the White Lake Pro-Am Half Ironman Triathlon. That consists of a 1.2-mile swim in White Lake, North Carolina, then a 56-mile bike ride, and then a 13.1-mile run. It was an amazing experience.
And is that your first time doing it, such a thing, or?
Yeah, I had done some sprint triathlons back in the 90s, 1990, and they were like a half-mile swim, a 15-mile bike ride, and a 5K race. But I'd never done anything like this. This was a real challenge.
Mm-hmm. And how did you do? I mean, I know how you did, but
right. I was pleased. My goal, knowing that I'm 75 years old and knowing that I was going to be tired, I set my goals of about an hour for the swim, and I gave myself 5 hours for the bike ride just because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And then I figured I'd be tired, and I gave myself 3 hours for the run. And I was 103 for the swim, but the other 2 I was under my goal. I ended up doing it in a total of 8 hours, 24 minutes, and 16.1 seconds, which my goal was between 8 and 9 hours, and I was right there.
Amazing. I mean, the thing is, you finished, right?
I finished, and that was my real goal. Exactly. That was my true goal, was just to finish, and it was hot. It was hotter than we expected. It was probably 82 or so, and that's a little warm after you've done all those things and doing the run.
Yes.
And Chris, in the middle of all this, at about mile 36 of the bike ride, I had a flat tire.
I saw that. You sent an email. So you had a spare, or you had to get somebody to help you? What happened?
I had to get help. When you're doing the race, you don't carry all the spare stuff like you would on a cross country ride or something. So I had nothing. I had to just stop on the side of the road, and they had like stag wagons that would be riding around monitoring the course. And the guy stopped, and he said, "Oh, you're done." I said, "Oh, wait. I'm not. I don't want to be done." He said, "I can call and get somebody, but by the time they get here and change the tire, the course will probably be closed down." I said, "Call him, please." So he called the guy, and he showed up, and he fixed my tire. But it was probably at least 20 minutes, and maybe a little bit more, that I sat there on the side of the road, which was somewhat frustrating. But But I did tell the guy, I said, this is a bucket list for me. I want to do it, even if they shut down the course. I want to complete the whole thing. So I did. Got back on and finished the course, and then started the run, which was, running is my thing. I've been running for 40 years now, and I thought I could do okay, but after 56 miles on the bike, my legs were a little like rubber, but anyway, I went out and I did the race, did the 13.1 mile run, and finished.
That's amazing. So you finished the course. That they didn't cut you off or anything. You made it. You made the whole thing. Obviously,
I made it. And I was not quite the last one. I was close. I was in the last wave of people starting. I think there were 6 waves, and the old men and stuff like me were the last group to get in the water. So I was behind everybody at the start, and and then I didn't make up a lot of time with my speeds, but I was not the last one. There wasn't another person behind me, and
you were not the penguin like they do in the marathon. Now I'm a penguin. Right. Now I've run a couple of road races. I've run a couple of marathons. I'm not a runner, and you know what's fun? I'm reading your emails, and now we'll get back to how we got to know each other. You're a subscriber to Cary Spotlight, and I had opened up Cary Spotlight to people who crossed the 100 issue mark. So if you've read 100 editions of Cary Spotlight, you get this email from me that says, "Hey, I want to say thank you, and I'll highlight or spotlight whatever you want us to talk about. We'll talk about you, talk about your charity, whatever." And you send me this email, which I want to read, which I think is really powerful. But what caught my eye in there is that you said, "I am a runner." That's an identity. It's like a thing. Like not I run for fun.
Right.
I am a runner, and that hit me a little soft, little close to the heart, because I ran in the military not because I was a runner, but because we had to run everywhere. So I was always fit and ready to run. And when we moved to Raleigh or we went somewhere, I think my wife said, "Oh, there's a half marathon in Durham." I just signed up. It's like, "When is it happening?" "Oh, it's happening this weekend." "So you didn't train?" I'm like, "But I'm in the best shape, I can go." And so that's kind of what I would do. So I would never identify myself as a runner. I mean, I ran and I could run. And now that I stopped running and I stopped being in the military, I don't have those free, the fitness instructors that I used to have, those drill instructors that would make me run everywhere. So my motivation isn't there. It's not internal. It was external the whole time. So when I read that, I felt a little pain. Like, I have my running shoes. I've done the Marine Corps Marathon. I've done San Diego Marathon. But all of those I ran in spite of not being a runner. I ran because I was with the Marines at the time, and I felt compelled, Marine Corps Marathon. Right. I gotta at least do that, right? And then San Diego Marathon. I mean, I was stationed there. I gotta at least do that, So a lot of these things are like, you didn't actually train. I want to say for the Marine Corps Marathon, my wife and I did train. We were in Virginia Beach at the time. It was very flat, so it was very easy to just go out and do the long runs, run on base. We were right there by the beach. So when I read this, I was like, my goodness, here's somebody who's dedicated. So anyway, so let me read real quick. So you wrote, this is a paragraph where you said your first race was the Cary Road Race. Started running in 1985. And you only kind of stopped, I think, because of COVID. But anyways, you've kept records of every run you've done since 2013. And you've run, and this is what you wrote, 24,901.55 miles, one lap around the world. Done 21 marathons, 3 Bostons, when you were 40, 50, and 60, New York, Chicago, Dublin, Ireland, and now you're running your 71st half marathon you ran, the Tobacco Road, and then now you're doing your first Ironman, probably your last. But I still think that's amazing. I've done some cycling in my youth. I was raised in Cape Town, South Africa, and then we had a race around the peninsula. It was like a 105-kilometer race. It was maybe about 85 kilometers. But it was a bike ride up steep hills, all kinds of canyons and things. So it was quite a challenge. And I rode that thing when I was in my 20s and 18, 20s, that kind of stuff. So I know how to ride a bike. I know how to run. Swimming, not so much. I swim a little bit to survive. I'm in the Navy. I know how to survive. But to put all 3 together, just the mindset of from going from the biking, and to me, when you said you blew out your tire or something, you had a flat tire, and then to sit there, I just thought about my legs. When my legs were warm up and I was riding a bike, to sit there and get a little bit cold, that stiffness. You didn't feel any of that, like while you were sitting there, like, man, I'm losing momentum here. Or What's going on?
I didn't. I was just pleased that I was going to be able to get back on the bike and go. I did some stretching and I did walk. I didn't stop. I kept moving, walking the whole time to keep the legs the blood pumping. But
yeah, and then you go from that motion into a running motion, right? You get off the bike and then you have to run. I was like, my goodness, and you did it. That's amazing. You know.
Yep.
So what's next? What's the next thing? You know, if you've done that, what are you gonna do next?
I did tell my wife that this would be the one and only half Ironman because the training takes a lot of time. I mean, I've been just about every day I would either swim, bike, or run. And near the end here, I was doing a little bit of all of it some days. So I've just said, that's just too much of a time commitment. My next things are I plan to keep doing half marathons. I hope I can continue to do those. My brother-in-law had a knee replaced years ago and had to quit running, and he got me into these long distance bike rides. And we've done I don't know if anybody knows about RAGBRAI, but that's the Register's annual Great Bike Ride across Iowa. That's 60 miles a day for 7 days. You ride from the west end of Iowa to the east end of Iowa.
Wow.
And I swore when I finished that one I would never do it again, but we've about decided we're gonna try it again next year if everything holds together.
Yeah, I've had that feeling again. I ran a couple of marathons, so you hit that wall and you're like, I just want to finish. I will never do this again. I'll try next time. Like next time comes like, oh, you want to challenge yourself again? Let's go push it. You know, it's just something. But I do tip my hat. You know, you are a runner for sure. Oh, that distance you ran, that's a significant amount, and the fact that you track how far you've gone. And I have a friend who's a runner. Yeah, he's a Navy guy. He's a runner, marathon on the marathon team and all that. And he's the first person I knew who tracked how many miles he had on his different shoes. Right. So he would have like different sets. And he would rotate them. And I was like, I just put these on and I go. It's like, no. So it's like, I'm not in this level, And, and when I was younger, I was faster. So, so speed was not the issue or the distance. But the fact that, his whole mentality, the whole mindset, like I am a runner. Right. That's my label. That's my thing. That's my identity. How I eat, how I train, the whole thing,
well, the eating, Chris, let me just tell you, some people see my eating habits and say, I thought you were a runner or an athlete. I like my ice cream. I mean, here when I was getting ready for the race, I did a little bit better. I did cut out my 9 o'clock ice cream, but I'm not a really hardcore as far as my athletic eating habits.
Yes,
but
you're not following TB12. You're not eating avocado stuff like that. Avocado ice cream. My wife takes good care of me. She feeds me well and tries to take care of me. So, this is an inspiration. I mean, so you're just going to keep going, right? So now you've done are you doing any more Bostons? Are you qualifying for those? Or
no,
are those not in the part?
I did Boston in 1990 when I was 40, in 2000 when I was 50, in 2010 when I was 60, and then did the Tobacco Road marathon in 2019, trying to qualify for Boston. And I needed, at 70 years old, I needed 4 hours and 20 minutes, and I did 4:32:02. At the 20-mile mark, I was with the guy that says, if you want to run a 4:20 marathon, run with me. And I saw him pass me and run off into the distance. I had nothing left. I was done. But and then they canceled the 2020 Boston because of COVID. So I figured, okay, it was not meant to be. And I decided then I was going to retire from marathons again because of the time commitment training. And it does beat your body up. The training is the hard part, going out and doing the 20-mile training run, the 24-mile training run.
That's what my wife said. She's like, I'm done running marathons because the training is 20 miles. Like, that long race before the race to make sure everything is fine-tuned. You're like, I just ran 20 miles. For fun, not even for a T-shirt. I got nothing. That's why I enjoyed the half marathons because it's like under 2 hours, whatever you feel. It's like a stroll compared to the marathon, right? It's like I can enjoy myself, and I get home and I have the rest of the day to hang out with the kids, and I get a T-shirt. Like this would have been my training run, right? This would have been my training run.
It's a big difference, the half and the full. The full, my PR for my full was 3:12, I think, and I don't know how I did that. Most of my full marathons were around the 3:30 mark, somewhere in that 3.5 hours.
So it says you said here you ran Chicago. I thought Chicago is one of the fast tracks, right? Because of the altitude and the
right. I don't remember what
profile.
I don't. Right. I don't have my records here as far as what that time was, but I do remember finishing that as we were running along Lake Michigan. The snow sleet was falling, and it was a pretty raw day. I do remember that. But,
Chicago, yeah. I know Virginia Beach is also pretty good because it's flat most of the way.
Right. That's where that was my first marathon, Chris. I did that in 1987, and the Shamrock. And
the Shamrock.
It was going to be check off my lifetime bucket list again, that kind of thing. But then I think there was only 1,200 runners at that time, and somebody said, well, if you want to do a big one, do the Marine Corps in D.C. So I did the Marine Corps, and then
and
from
you
then
get
on,
an excellent medal, man. They had that Eagle Globe and anchor. They got a spinner. I think I got the one with the spinning globe on the. And the Shamrock they had some really nice swag. You know, they had the hoodie and the little jacket, and they even gave you food at the end. I was like, this is the only marathon I know where they gave you like an Irish stew or some real food instead of just bananas. So this is pretty cool.
I think it was 1999 I ran the Shamrock, and that's one of the times I qualified for Boston. But that year, my oldest daughter's husband and my two younger daughters at that time, boyfriends or whatever, all four of us ended up qualifying for Boston, and we went up and ran it together. Well, they ran a lot faster than I did, but all four of us ran it in 2000, and that was a great experience.
Well, I think I thank you for your time. I thank you for the inspiration. I mean, I'll put this out there. I mean, for us non-runners, we probably think this is crazy, but there might be some people feeling, hey, I should put on lace up my shoes again, and at least hit some of these nice trails that we have around Cary. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I mean, my goodness.
All right, and I tried to send you a few pictures. Let me know if you got those.
Yeah, I got the finish line one. We'll put that one up. I think the bike one is pretty cool. I could use it, and I think we'll use the swim start. We'll let people know it's not part of the same race, but it's fine.
Right. It was last year's, right?
It's last year's, yes. But I mean, thank you for sharing your story, and keep being a loyal subscriber. Appreciate. We hope we're doing the service. I think you were also the one that mentioned the police tracker, and I actually went out and I found the website where they publish that, and now that's a thing every week that I actually put that out so people can go and click on and see what kind of crazy crimes are going on around here. But I mean, nothing too bad, but at least it's there, But thank you for bringing that to my attention, the old
thank you.
Cary newspaper.
Thank you for putting out the Cary Spotlight. I enjoy it.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.